Hi everyone, welcome to Spill the Beans. I'm Duncan Goldie. My guest this week is the founder of a very new and innovative platform specializing in mental health awareness for employees, something which is quite prevalent at the moment, but also quite often overlooked or just sort of patched over with the easiest solution rather than thinking of the individual. So that's exactly what the guys at Juno do, and I was able to talk to their founder Ally, who was very graciously able to give up some of his time and explain to us kind of how the concept was founded and how they're getting a lot of traction with a lot, businesses of every size really, who are wanting to kind of give something back to their employees who might still be working remotely, or whose mental health might have suffered a little bit as a result of the pandemic, and just kind of through normal work anyway. So really interesting conversation, and I really enjoyed speaking to him. Very inspiring guy, so I hope you guys do too. Ally, hi. Thank you very much for taking the time to chat with me today on the podcast. Tell me, whereabouts in the world are you right now? We have people from all over. So,
yeah, thanks. I am actually in leafy Surrey. I'm at my parents' place in Hazelmere, which is, I'd say, about an hour, on a good day, an hour's drive from central London.
Perfect. And how's the lockdown situation been for you? Have you been there most of the time? Are you have you got a kind of good setup?
So I was in my flat in Fulham for, I would say, about 3 and a bit months. Obviously, since things kind of started opening up a bit, I decided to move back. But yeah, things have been all right, not bad. I mean, can't complain. I've really kind of got to know my kitchen quite well, and my kitchen's got to know me. I've gained an ungodly amount of weight. But you know what? I've when you're stuck at home, there's not much more that you can do.
Exactly. Yeah, no, that's a good way of putting it. Getting to know your kitchen. I've definitely done the same. So I'm cropping myself nicely in the picture here so that it doesn't all expand out from here. Yeah, exactly. Perfect. Well, look, thank you very much for coming on the podcast. So I came across Juno a little while ago and doing a bit of research about the kind of waves you guys are making, disrupting, I suppose. We'll go into it in a bit more detail, whether it's the perks industry, and it kind of sits across a few different levels, but really sort of combating, employee mental health and that kind of stuff as well. So, I mean, I guess from your own personal perspective, what kind of led you up to the point to found Juno? Can you give a bit of a brief snapshot over your kind of own personal career?
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of founders in this space have sort of personal experiences where they might have burnt out or sort of experienced sort of mental health crises. And I'm actually very fortunate not to have had to go through that, but I've known, plenty of people that have. And I think that, obviously we all go through periods of stress at work, and, I don't think anyone's immune to it, but I think I was a bit sort of, as a young person who just started working, I was quite taken aback by quite how prevalent the issue of stress, burnout, not feeling valued, how prevalent it was amongst my peers and people that I worked with. So that kind of led me on to thinking about what the role of an employer really is, and actually the personal experience of managing a team when I was quite young, a team that was diverse, that had all sorts of different people, characters and characteristics. You had people that had children, and those that had just graduated. So it was definitely a diverse team, and that kind of got me thinking about, well, just the how difficult it can be for an organisation to take care of everybody with everything in mind. And that kind of led on to Juno, I guess. I mean, those ingredients led on to me building Juno.
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, give us a bit of a snapshot over Juno and kind of what it is that you guys do.
Yeah, sure. So, we learned very early on in our journey as a business that, speaking to lots of founders, heads of HR, heads of people, and mostly employees, everybody kind of wanted to do more and expected more in terms of their health and well-being and work. And I think that previously there was this kind of top-down approach where what was on offer, and that's kind of what the best that a business could do, essentially. So think about, yoga in meeting rooms, or bike to work schemes. It was kind of what was on offer at the time, but it didn't go far enough. And so the reason for that is because most people kind of define their health and well-being and the way that they feel supported in their own terms. And so, being that it's such a personal thing, we built a platform that allows people to kind of define what that means. So think about it like a marketplace where every employee has a certain level of points to use every month. And because there's such a wide variety of things on the platform, if you have children, you can use it to get if you're stuck in lockdown, you can use your points to get a Riverford veg box delivered. If you're fresh out of university and you want to learn more, you can use your points towards courses at General Assembly. These are all the things that, after having spoken to so many people, so many employees and employers, the ability to kind of give people the choice and flexibility was really the key to getting people actually engaged with this kind of stuff and improving their health and well-being.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's obviously solving a very real problem, because I do think, it's not a one size fits all in terms of taking an extended lunch break or anything like that as your perk for your mental well-being at work. But I mean, it does sound like quite a challenge in terms of finding the opposite of a one size fits all. I mean, how many partnerships have you got now with different, I suppose, benefit providers?
So I think around 250 partners.
Wow.
COVID kind of accelerated everything, because obviously at the time, pre-COVID, we were very focused on London. We had a couple of outposts in the north of England from the clients that we've got, but really kind of things got fast forwarded after COVID, because you had a dispersed workforce, and obviously everything was digital. So that kind of accelerated our growth in terms of partners. So yeah, about 250 we're available globally. We have people in 2 or 3 countries now, clients in 2 or 3 countries. Well, actually, I think you count Ireland as a country. Yeah, so 3 countries.
I think they definitely would.
That's not fair for me to say 2 or 3. Definitely 3 countries. But yeah, so we've got a pretty big coverage.
Yeah, fantastic. So, I mean, in terms of the actual monitoring of the traction that you're getting on the platform, I mean, it's a very stressful time for everyone at the moment, but is there any way, or is there going to be a way in the future that you're going to be able to kind of do a bit of analysis and look back on, actually how much impact the individual is getting from the platform?
Yeah, definitely. So that's kind of built into the product. So everybody from an individual level can track their goals, their health, and it's quantitative and qualitative. We'll ask people a set of very short mental health questionnaires that are designed to essentially allow you to check in and then look back on how each individual experience can impact that. So each individual experience on the platform will be given a score, essentially, or a sort of a boost score. So based off what you're using your points towards, you'll be able to see how the needle moves, essentially. And also from an anonymized perspective, if you are head of HR, head of people, or managing director, you can also see how your company's sort of well-being score, happiness score, health score tracks over time as well, based off the usage of the platform.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So I guess, going forward, I mean, what are the plans is there any sort of step further? Are you looking at bringing on just sort of replicating the same model on a broader scale? Is it just kind of up to a growth phase now? Like, what stage are you at in your, in the kind of expansion of the platform?
Yeah, so we spent the last 3 to 4 months, obviously through lockdown, rebuilding our product. We worked with an MVP for a year, which worked, but it was, I think someone the other day I spoke to described theirs as a very chunky MVP. I think that's how they said it. But yeah, that's pretty much what we had. And we thought that, look, based off the fact that, COVID and the economy has is not faring well, and understandably so. We didn't to pound the pavement and just try and sell in, and we knew that there wasn't really much of a mood and appetite to do that, despite the fact that what we're doing is very helpful to staff. So now things are picking up a little bit, and we have a new product, a new completely redesigned platform from the ground up. So as we launch that, we're looking to grow, to speak with more businesses that kind of share our values. I think that one of the things that we've learned over the last couple of months is, my job obviously is the founder is to segment the market and find out, okay, well, who's this for, and how's it best positioned, and what's the proposition. And we started thinking about sort of characteristics of businesses, whether they're remote or whether they're global, whether they're a marketing agency or a tech firm. And what we realize now is that actually the characteristics of size and industry aren't important. It's actually just their values. The people that we have on board, our clients, they share a very similar outlook on their relationship with their team and their relationship with health in general, and that's the kind of people that we want to continue to find.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, that was kind of going to lead me on to my next question in terms of the actual industry for each of these clients. Is there a particular target, or is there a particular industry that you feel has adopted your platform more so than others? And if so, do you see any sort of patterns within, as to why that might be?
Yeah, so I can speak to sort of pre-COVID and before we kind of got a stronger hold on our market segmentation. Like before so our team, 2/3 of our team come from sort of marketing backgrounds, myself included, and we kind of had this evidence early on that marketing agencies, advertising agencies, they were the sort of clients that saw Juno and really kind of bought into the idea. They were progressive. They're also very competitive. So it's important to retain your talent. But obviously, after COVID, that became problematic because unfortunately agencies have really suffered. And then you have the case of tech startups, which usually what happens with a tech startup is that because it's a sort of an opportunity for renewal and an opportunity for young people to, a lot of the time, not always, but young people to kind of define their own cultures, what you'll find is that they're actually much more willing to do everything themselves. And so for a platform like ours, for a lot of tech startups, they'll look at that and go, well, actually, we'd rather try it ourselves, like invent our own kind of thing. So actually now, as I mentioned in my last point, we've learned that it's just businesses that have the same approach, attitude, outlook that we do, regardless of their size. We've got companies that are, blue chip, world famous brands that use Juno, and then you've also got a 5-person remote marketing team that is, just started. So, but the commonality is that when I speak to both of them, the way that they look at all of this topic, they don't look at they hate the word perks. They don't look at the well-being, happiness, productivity, and support of their staff as something that is a little perk that you chuck in, or something that you'll just spend the remainder of your budget on. It's actually an integral part, and they look at their colleagues as in the sense that if they look at it as they don't look at it as a cost. Essentially, they look at it as an investment, and they also kind of look at what we're doing and see, this is a new, fresh way of looking at it. So that's kind of the attitude piece again I mentioned earlier.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a very, very good platform, and something that'd be very attractive, I think, both to an employer obviously wanting to enhance productivity as much as possible, and it's generally a bit of a theme. I mean, you might know more about that than me, whereas the happier and kind of, less stressed your staff is often more productive. I mean, have you done any kind of data analysis around that at all?
Yeah, I mean, we try not to be too focused on data and ROI, because my mission is, weirdly, as a B2B business, my mission is really to kind of sit in front of people that get it immediately and don't necessarily have to be convinced that for every pound that you spend,
Yeah.
you get something out of it. However, not only is there a litany of evidence and research out there that shows that there is a gigantic ROI for every pound that you invest in the happiness and retention of your team, which we haven't undertaken. It's just out there. All you need to do is look up ROI well-being workplace, and you'll get a ton of results. But on our end, it's about, one of the sort of exciting things that we learn is that a lot of what we offer on Juno kind of gives you back time. So previously, I think a lot of the initiatives that were geared towards making people productive, happy, and so on actually kind of meant that you had to sacrifice time for it. So whether that might be a workshop or a fitness class or whatever, actually what we found is that a lot of employees kind of felt as though that was less attractive because they prioritize that. So things like housekeeping, laundry, childcare, food box delivery, recipe box delivery, all that kind of stuff that we have on Juno actually has meant that people, first and foremost, have reported feeling a lot more productive in the workplace, for obvious reasons. They don't have to worry about getting home early to do that stuff. And also they found that actually having to rush off, I remember working with somebody who had kids that had to leave 3 o'clock every day and get everything done by then, because of the kids having to get picked up from school. So obviously, this kind of help means that the pressure is definitely lessened and productivity increases. But as I said, obviously, I appreciate that for a lot of decision makers, having an ROI and being able to justify the spend is something that is important. But for us, we want to be in a place where people just understand that, I know why I should be spending this kind of money and investing it. I'm not going to sit down and nickel and dime over why I should do it. It's obvious. In the same way that you look at an office space previously.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the pandemic really has kind of shone a light on ways of working, and I think for an individual as well, potentially sort of adjusted their priorities if they were spending too much time in the office or anything like that, and they get to spend more time with their family, and then the way that they work, I think, becomes quite different. Great. Well, I mean, we're almost out of time, but it does tend to fly past a little bit. There's obviously a lot more that we could talk about.
Yeah.
If someone did have some questions and they wanted to kind of find out a little bit more about the platform, what would be the best way for them to get in touch?
Yeah, definitely. So, if you are a business that believes in what we believe in, which is that our colleagues are the most valuable asset that we could, then head over to our website, which is www.withjuno.com, so withjuno.com, or you could email me directly, Ally, so ALLY @withjuno.com, WITHJUNO.com. So yeah, send us an email, and we'd love to chat to anyone who's keen.
Perfect. Well, I'm sure lots of people will reach out, and we'll put those links down in the summary of the podcast as well to make it easy for people to get in touch. But Ally, look, thank you so much for taking the time to chat, and I'm sure there'll be a lot more conversations that derive off the back of it. So thank you.
I really enjoyed it. Thanks.
Great. Thanks. Have a good day.
Cheers.
So that's a wrap for us this week then, guys. Thanks very much to Ally for talking us through Juno and the good work that they're doing there. Obviously slightly different from some of the podcasts that we've done in the past. Really interesting to hear a kind of different perspective on how employers can battle kind of mental health awareness within work by sort of engaging third-party providers and giving something back to their employees on an individual level rather than sort of trying to find one solution to fit them all. Well, I guess this is one solution to fit them all, but because it's an individual service. So if you do want to find out a little bit more, you can apply this to any team size. It's just a price per employee. fee, so really attractive for a lot of employers, and it's really affordable as well for what you get for the service. So check out the links in the summary of the podcast. Otherwise, stay safe, and I'll see you guys next time.